What's up, everybody? I just wanted to comment on a few things I've been seeing the last couple of days. One, I wanted to start with the coronavirus. Obviously, it's still a very hot topic as it's spreading everywhere. Now, many of you have seen my little montage that I had done here through all the, just the media fear campaign throughout the years, all these things. First it was Y2K, then it was SARS, then it was the bird flu, then it was the swine flu, West Nile again. West Nile is like, I think 2012 was the third time. I think 99 was one of the first ones. Then Ebola. This is another one. I think this is the second time there was an Ebola outbreak. Now, the whole point of this video wasn't to say that's fake or that any of these are fake or that the coronavirus is fake. And I'm sure most of you got that, but I just want to clarify that it's not that these things are fake. It's that the hype is so much worse. The fear, they put the fear of God into everyone on purpose. And, every couple of years, a new virus will come out and it won't be great. And a lot of times it usually originates in China. And then the news, they make it sound like it's this epidemic proportions. And oh my God, and they get everyone so freaked out. And the point I was trying to make is it'll be all right. We're a clean country. We have a very good healthcare system. It's going to come here and we're going to defeat it. And it's not going to be the biggest deal. The only thing that can really hurt is if you let yourself get into a panicked frenzy. There's no need. And of course, be prepared. I would always be prepared. I own a gas mask. I have a bug out bag. Everyone should have a bug out bag. But as far as for this, stay clean, wash your hands, be mindful of your surroundings. All the things you should be doing in flu season anyway. Because as you see, when I put here, 5 times as many people died from the flu in 2018. And 2018 was a little more than normal. About 80,000 people died from the flu in 2018. But that is 5 times as many as all of these combined. But the only one that had a significant, honestly, this would have been 60,000 times as many people died from the flu in 2018 if it weren't for the swine flu, where 12,000 people died in America, which again, typically about 30 to 50,000 people die from the flu every single year. So even that, this is the most one was the swine flu with 12,000, and even that was only half as many as the lowest estimates of people who die from the flu every year. So I just totally disagree with whipping the public into a panic frenzy over this. I just think it's very irresponsible by the media. And it is of note that the only one that went out of control was the swine flu, and that was under Obama, and he waited until about 1,000 people had died already before he declared an emergency and did everything that President Trump did right off the bat. And they were actually criticizing him. And you see that he closed everything off right away. And they were trying to call him racist, of course, because they're insane. And it worked. And it was a good move. And now in hindsight, saying, oh, it was a good move. But here's just a great, great example of the coronavirus hype and why it's a bit ridiculous.
What you heard in the meeting, were there questions answered, and do you feel like you're getting the response that needs to come from this task force?
Well, it's still ongoing. We are getting, it is still ongoing. So we want to just make sure that everyone stays calm. Folks, A, remain calm, but B, I know it sounds banal, but one of the key parts to preventing transmission is washing your hands and not touching your face. There's a lot of folks that are trying to ask themselves, do I need a mask? A mask will not protect you if you don't wash your hands and if you continue to touch your face.
Do you think that the briefing gave more information to the census is going to go?
I love it. I love it.
Would they alarm them?
Well, we have the meeting was declassified, so much of the information that we
I just think that was freaking great. And I gotta say, if anyone out there has ever had LASIK surgery, it's the eye surgery, corrective eye surgery. After you get the laser surgery doesn't hurt, by the way. It's surprisingly painless. I guess it's a little creepy when you think about it. They cut the underneath of your lens and pull that back, and then all you could see is the laser, and then you see it spread out, and then everything goes black. But there's no pain involved. It's pretty cool. However, for about a month, if I remember correctly, it was a while ago, for about a month afterwards, you're not allowed to itch your eyes because your eyes are healing. And oh my Lord, you do not realize how often you go to rub your eyes until someone tells you you cannot rub your eyes for a month. Oh, it was like torture. But of course, it's a month, so it goes by. But man, it is hard. It's hard not to touch your face. But yeah, man, just stay clean. And obviously, don't do irresponsible things like going to freaking Italy. This right here, I just landed in JFK after reporting on coronavirus in Milan and Lombardy, the epicenter of Italy's outbreak, for Vice News. I walked right through U.S. Customs. They didn't ask me where in Italy I went or if I came in contact with sick people. They didn't ask me anything. Now, even though New York is completely controlled by liberals between Cuomo and de Blasio and whoever, this is somehow on Trump. If you read his comments, hey, the Trump regime does not check you for coronavirus. Trump, Trump, Trump. I mean, this is like, it's hard to read. If you go down this, every other comment is somehow pinning this post on Trump. Who would go to the epicenter? You're the problem. You're Julia Lindau and Vice News. You're the reason things like this spread. Have you ever heard of a green screen? You have to go to the epicenter of the outbreak to report on this? Get out of here, man. That is ridiculous. Honestly, you shouldn't have even been let back in the country. Which I guess in a way would be awesome. God, I wish someone would exile me to Italy. I twist my arm. But this is insane. How could you send someone to... There's an outbreak going on. Send them to the furthest place from that outbreak. This is the most irresponsible thing I've ever read in my life. And it's just TDS is off the charts. The fact that people are actually trying to put this on Trump. Like, what? This is on you. Why would you go there? What if she infected people? What if she did get infected by the virus? Oh, unreal. And then... Not only got the people just being completely irresponsible and insane about this stuff, then you got stuff like this, which someone sent this to me, and it is just the most unreal thing I've ever seen in my life. QAnon YouTuber, this is Rolling Stone, by the way. This isn't just some random news outlet. It's a freaking Rolling Stone, a reputable thing to most of the people. I mean, I know it's not, but for the most of the public, Rolling Stone is to be trusted. QAnon YouTubers are telling people to drink bleach to ward off coronavirus. Yo, okay, first of all, don't drink bleach. If someone's got to tell you not to drink bleach, then you got other problems. But this is, I don't watch all the channels. I unfortunately don't have a lot of time to watch anything these days. But I have not heard one single person say to drink bleach. Now, he mentions Jordan Sather. And I know Jordan Sather, I guess there's something that's similar to bleach called MMS, I think, that he is pushing the past. And that was a big thing that people saying, he's telling people to drink bleach. From what I understand, I don't think it is bleach. But nevertheless, dude, stay away from anything bleach or anything. If one person says something random, that is not all QAnon YouTubers, right? They don't speak for all of us. And spoiler alert, you're not going to find anything anywhere on my page telling anyone to drink bleach. Please, for the love of God, don't drink bleach. And also, don't trust Rolling Stone. I just think, this is insane to me. It's just insane to me. But anyway, just for a final thought on the coronavirus, just treat it like you should be treating flu season. And I truly believe this will be over before we know it. Just like the rest. Moving on, here is Busy Phillips. I know who she is. I always mess up how to say her name. She's actually in one of my favorite shows from back in the day, Freaks and Geeks. But, I've said this in the past. I don't know if anyone's ever seen, I used to support abortion being legal. I always thought it was horrible, just as a whole. But, yeah, I'm a pretty staunch libertarian. And I always felt like this is a free country. It's legal. It's not for me. I would obviously, if anyone ever asked my opinion, I would say, dude, they're pulling a baby apart with tweezers. It is a baby. I don't care what anyone says. That's a human being. They say, it's my body, my choice. And it's not your body. It's that baby's body, dude. But it's neither here nor there. These people have completely red-pilled me and ruined any sort of, I'm still a libertarian, but oh my God. If I was on the Supreme Court, I would straight up make abortion illegal at this point. This is dark. Watch this.
Of my own late-night talk show. Soon I would be driving my hybrid car to my beautiful fucking home to kiss my two beautiful and healthy children and my husband who had taken the year off to parent so I could focus on my career.
You better focus a little harder. No one's seen you in 10 years.
And I have all of this all of it! Because
Look how angry they are.
Because I was allowed bodily autonomy at 15.
No, you could call it all you want. Bodily autonomy. They call it, women's reproductive health rights. No, dude, you're ripping a baby apart limb by limb. Just give it up for adoption if you're 15. That kid, these kids, that could have been the next Tesla. Even if it's the next nobody, man. That's his life, his or her life. You just end it. Anyway.
I will not be shamed into being quiet. We will not be shamed into being quiet. Never again. I will never stop talking about my abortion or my periods or my experiences in childbirth, my episiotomies, my yeast infections, or my ovulation that lines up with the moon.
Okay, first of all, see, that's just a cluster thing where it used to confuse people. Not talking about your period now. What is this, the 1800s? No one's saying yeast infection, all this stuff, have childbirth. No one, who on earth is saying don't talk about that stuff? No one. But yeah, abortions are pretty dark stuff. I mean, if people, I know there's always new people watching. There's always new eyes on these videos. And like, say if you're out there, if you're a vegan or something. And I love eating steaks and stuff like that. And you say, oh my God, you're killing an animal. How could you do that? And it bugs you out. I'm sure I could see, it obviously something that physically gives you anxiety and gut wrenches you. I personally don't agree. Well, I mean, I love animals. I guess I can see where you're coming from. But to me, this is just the food chain. You got to tell a lion not to eat a zebra, stuff like that. This is what animals do. However, that's how I feel. So at least understand how I feel. That same feeling you're getting at the thought of someone killing a cow to make a steak is the feeling I get at the thought of someone ripping a baby out of someone's room and just murdering a baby. So at least understand where I'm coming from. That's all I'm saying. Next up, we got here on Shore News. This is kind of concerning. Pelosi security points gun at Trump supporters from New Jersey rooftops. And here's look at this, dude. So apparently Nancy Pelosi stumped in South Jersey Saturday on behalf of Representative Norcross in his campaign for re-election. And she was joined by Governor Murphy and Senator Cory Booker, both useless. And so they were here doing the thing, and they were met by hundreds of peaceful protesters. By the way, when we protest, it's always peaceful. We're not the ones ripping up garbage cans and screaming like unhinged animals and psychos. It's peaceful protesters filled the sidewalk at Camden County College, demonstrating and holding a pro-Second Amendment and pro-Trump signs. Well, they had guns aimed at them. So what irony. It's like all these people, they say, they want to disarm us, but they have armed security details. So that is highly concerning. And this from Nancy Pelosi's partner in crime here, going back to what Buzzy Phillips was freaking out about, is also highly freaking concerning.
Inside the walls of this court, the Supreme Court is hearing arguments, as you know, for the first major abortion right cases since Justices Kavanaugh and Justices Gorsuch
all right, get on with
came to the bench. We know what's at stake. Over the last 3 years, women's reproductive rights have come under attack in a way we haven't seen in modern history. From Louisiana to Missouri to Texas, Republican legislatures are waging a war on women. All women.
No, women are waging a war on babies.
And they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price.
That's a straight-up threat. This guy just threatened 2 Supreme Court justices out. They got to get him out of there. And this is the sort of rhetoric that you hear coming from the Bernie campaign. You hear from the left across the board. And this is the sort of stuff that got Scalia shot. And don't kid yourself, they want stuff like that to happen. See, me, I just want to wake up my friends on the left. Which brings me to this next post. Oh, man, which just really boils my blood. Sebastian Gorka guy who, I don't know who this guy is. And I got made fun of last year. He says this from time to time. There's about a year ago on Instagram, someone had shared a screenshot of him saying the same thing, like Q's BS or whatever. And I commented, well, I don't know who this Sebastian Gorka guy is, but he doesn't seem to know what he's talking about. And, I got hit with 100 comments. You don't know who Sebastian Gorka is. You're fake MAGA. You're full of crap. What are you talking about? How could you not know? It was like this big thing. Like, people are really blown away. When I say I don't watch Fox News for the last 10 years, however many years, or any news for that matter, I'm serious. I did one thing. I would DVR Red Eye, which was on at 3 a.m. in the morning. After work, I'd watch it, and then I'd go on with my day. I'd read the newspaper. Sometimes at work, I'd buy the Post and stuff like that. I wasn't like completely disconnected from the news, but, we're all for the same thing. We all believe slightly different things. I don't believe everything regular run-of-the-mill MAGA people think. We all see the world slightly different. That's part of not being robot drones and shedding the hive mind. But why would you do this? As I've said many times, Q is a con. QAnon followers have been a cult. I'm so sick of this word, by the way. Leave your self-enforced mental prison if you believe in real Donald Trump. You have two choices. Come back to MAGA or register as a Democrat. Why this is so counterproductive. Honestly, and I don't know enough about him to make a thing whether I think he's a shill. I try not to do that anyway. I feel like people get caught up in trying to guess who's a shill. Hey, listen, when they turn on Donald Trump or when they start saying insane stuff, we'll know. You don't have to worry about guessing in the future. The second they say that, we'll say, all right, peace. You're done. But this is ridiculous. And to try and be so divisive, and again, I see it just on a regular level, too. I see different Twitter accounts talking crap on this one, and they're going after each other. And, I'm just kind of looking like, why? Why don't you, let's direct this towards the insane left that we're trying to fight, not fight each other. It's just so counterproductive to me. And this is all QAnon, again, for people, if this is the first time you watch it. This is all QAnon is. It's just, here you go. There's a picture of a flag, Patriots with a flag, Godspeed. Here's when Trump was in India. Here's someone, where we go, one we go all. That's a cool phrase from the movie White Squall that everyone likes to use. Here you go. Love and light, Patriot. Have faith and trust yourself. Where we go, one we go all. So that's cool. Here he's retweeting the Armor of God prayer. So that's cool. So he tweets a lot of Christian stuff here and there. Right. All right. So that's just a retweet of this. This is... He linked inevitable ET status. It's going to be biblical. Then out of the smoke came the locusts. Yeah, they're getting hammered in Africa and the Middle East right now in locusts. He linked that. He links good. He'll link articles, kind of wade through the fake news, things that feel are important. Senate fails to pass Born Alive bill. By a vote of 53 to 44, the Senate has failed to pass the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, which would have required doctors to provide medical care to infants born alive after an attempted abortion procedure. Why would you vote? I don't understand these people, man. I just don't get it. Why would you vote against that? But, so he posts good articles for you. Here he's calling light to these disgusting tweets by Patton Oswalt. Calling light to that. He's showing you how Bob Iger just stepped down from Disney, which is pretty huge considering. Now, he's still going to be connected to Disney for a little bit, but he has stepped down as CEO. The silent war continues. He'll gives you great stuff like this. Like here's the manual on counterinsurgents. That came out 2009. It came out 1 week before Obama took office. It says insurgency is the organized use of subversion and violence to seize, nullify, or challenge political control of a region. The presidency of Barack Hussein Obama began at noon Eastern on January 20th, 2009, when Barack Obama was inaugurated as the 44th president of the United States. What country was the true intended target? Now, this came out January 13th, 2009, so this was all ready for Mr. Obama once he got into office. And here it is. Here's the full guide. 67 pages. I printed it out. I've leafed through it. It's quite interesting. And it is a guide on how to infiltrate a government. Now, it's under the pretense of Iraq and Afghanistan. In recent years, the United States has engaged in a prolonged counterinsurgency campaign in Afghanistan and Iraq. It has supported many other friendly governments facing internal subversion around the globe. So it's showing, and it's basically a guide on how to infiltrate and subvert a government. So who is this really supposed to be used for? Afghanistan and Iraq. Well, we're already in there. By 2009, we'd already kicked their asses, and we were already in there. What do you need this for? Because as many believe, and I believe Barack Obama was tasked with one mission: to get into America and to infiltrate our government. And he did it. He got people in everywhere, and it was already infiltrated to a degree. But this guy really was conducting an insurgency on the United States, and he was never intended to actually be president. Once enough people knows what was up with Obama, then you could send the military to arrest Obama and give him a military tribunal for treason. But you can't do that at the moment. That's like people say, like, "Oh, trust the plan. Oh, it's just meant to keep people on the couch." No way, dude. Trust the plan. We're the plan. The plan is, from our perspective anyway, the plan is to have us lift the curtain to make as many precise, concise videos to show people what has been going on so they can be like, "Oh, damn, dude," and recruit them. Unlike Bernie, I love Bernie. Oh, we're taking down the establishment. I always say, "Oh, we're taking down the oligarch." Like, the oligarch to them is all the people who like run everything, who pull the strings. That's all. But Bernie, we're gonna take down the oligarch by what? Raising taxes and then going back into the climate change scams. All these are the things that fund the oligarch. This guy, Bernie Sanders, is probably the most establishment candidate we've ever had. Their whole thing, everything that, when you really start digging, you find that they've been trying to slowly push socialism, the one world socialist government, on us and the world forever, for over 100 years. And we slowly but surely, the boiling frog theory is slowly but surely have gotten things in that are slightly socialist. And now you have a candidate who's just flat out pushing socialism. To think that, and what's he also pushing? They won a violent revolution. They're talking about, his staffers are on camera, more than one, talking about straight up killing people and putting people in re-education camps. And this is the most establishment New World Order thing in the history of the world. And it's just ironic that their whole battle cry is, "Let's get the first non-establishment person in to fight the establishment, Donald Trump." Anyway, it's a joke. But QAnon, man, is just a wealth of information. It just shares amazing, amazing things. And a lot of things are just like this. You've come far, Anons, patriots. You're ready. Prepare for the storm. And this shows this white squall trailer, which I said where the phrase "where we go on, we go all" comes from. It's just a cool little motivational thing there. Now here's one saying the primary purpose of referencing Twitter accounts. So they references a lot of Twitter accounts and saying, "Together you're invincible, united, where we go on, we go on." He's saying here how he's constantly sharing different statuses and commenting on different good statuses. I mean, that's all this is. It's the greatest Twitter page on the planet Earth is basically what you could call this. He shares good videos. Here you go. Epstein, Wexner. The story goes much deeper, darker. And I saw someone comment the other day, and it was like an honest comment. And they said, honestly, what has Q said that's ever come true? And to see the full extent of that, you could just start going through my videos. I mean, it's so constant. A lot of it gets lost in the shuffle because they're not always huge things. But my God, let's just put it this way. We get the news 2 weeks ahead of time. For example, Q had said in the fall of 2017 that Hollywood was going down. A few months later, Weinstein is arrested, and he was just found guilty. Q had told us Allison Mack was naming names in Nexium before it had come out that she was in fact spilling her guts in Nexium. Then Nexium, Keith Raniere, found guilty on all charges. He's going to be sentenced this spring. Told us about Jeffrey Epstein, freaking year and a half before he was arrested and subsequently killed in prison. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, he's not dead. Jeffrey Epstein isn't dead." And I tend to agree. I think that was a ruse and that he was skirted out there. But for all intents and purposes, this guy is dead. His operation's dead. Bye-bye beautiful apartment in Manhattan. Bye-bye exotic island all to myself in the Caribbean. Bye-bye crazy operations that were going on there. Bye-bye compound in New Mexico. This guy is going to have to live in secrecy forever, for the rest of his life. So yeah, for all intents and purposes, Epstein and his operation have been killed and neutralized. And that's all this is. It's great to keep up on. It's the best sources on the whole internet. So For someone so big as Sebastian Gorka to come out and say this is extremely suspect in my eye. Now, another thing Q did, he was sent us down a rabbit hole of what the elites like to do at the top. All the crazy stuff. Would you start finding stuff like MK Ultra? Say, oh, well, that's crazy conspiracy. No, it's not. There's actual CIA documents. The MK Ultra was a real program that was started after World War II, where they were doing mental experiments on people and how to mind control the public. They were all doing this throughout the 50s and 60s. All the documents are there. They're actual CIA documents. These tests that were really going on. So if that's the sort of stuff that he's calling conspiracy, well, guess what? One of the terminology for MK Ultra or these people or these assets that they're saying that they're controlled, a lot of the actors and all these people are actually controlled puppets for the people at the top who pull the strings. One of the terms is handlers, that they all have handlers. Now knowing that, let's look at this clip from the other day.
Biden, that is, said of China's piracy and plunder, they're not that bad, folks. He always used the word folks. I watched him today. He used the word folks. Hi, folks. Hi, my time is up. I got to leave. Now they have him all freaked out because he makes a mistake every time he speaks. So I can just see these handlers, because they're handlers.
Handlers?
Like they use on horses. They're handlers, right? All right, get him off now. He's been up there long enough. So they're screaming, get off, get off. Sleepy Joe, get off the stage. Please, please, Joe, you're doing fine. Joe, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. And then he goes, I love being in Ohio. But he was in Iowa yesterday. And they say, damn it, he should have left sooner. We told him, get off the stage, Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe, get off the damn stage.
So, he's doing this constantly where he used certain terminology that he knows, like handlers. Who else? What other president have you heard use the word handlers before? Handlers is like an MK Ultra, is an Illuminati term. And like he said in another interview, Joe Biden's not going to be running the country. The guy's incompetent. He's going to be in there as a proxy for, same thing. None of them have really run the country. They're just a figurehead while the CFR and these control groups run the United States like they run the European Union, like they run all these other things. This guy bucked the system. They also run the media. Now does it make sense that the media and everyone is 100% freaking out? But Sebastian Gorka, I say, it's just things like this, man. June 12, 2018. Would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior to the summit? He did not have his updated phone number. 3 North Korean generals released, closed the pathway for bad actors. All right, so that's something that we learned at the time of the summit back in June of 2018, according to Q anyway, that Barack Obama tried to call Kim Jong-un prior to the summit. Okay, could be true, could not be true. It was something interesting nonetheless. Well, let's take a look at the town hall from last night, almost 2 years after that Q post.
When I became president, I was told by President Obama, sitting in the Oval Office in probably our only meeting, essentially, that was enough for me. But I was told...
And you haven't talked to him since?
I was at the funeral of President Bush, sat next to him, and I said, hello, and then I said, goodbye. That's about it. No, I didn't like the job he did. I didn't like the job that he and Biden did. I didn't like the position they put us in. I didn't like what he did to our military. We didn't even have a military. Our military was so depleted. And I tell this story, and I hate to tell it because it's embarrassing, but right now we have more ammunition than we've ever had. It's all over the place. But when we were having difficulty with a certain country, remember Donald Trump is going to start a war right away. Well, here it is. We're almost 4 years out. There's been no war, and we're respected again. But I was told by a general, sir, please don't do that. Why? We have no ammunition. This is the condition we were left in. When you look at so many different problems that we were left, and with countries. But he said the biggest problem we have is North Korea. That's what you're alluding to. And I have a good relationship with him. I said, did you ever call him? The answer is yes, he did. But I will tell you, I don't think they admit that. Maybe they do. But called many times. And Kim Jong-un did not want to talk to him. And me, he wanted to talk to. And we met in Singapore. We met in Vietnam. And I also went to the border, the first person ever to walk over, from et cetera, et cetera. And we have a very good relationship, understanding. Let's see what happens. But, the pundits say, isn't it terrible what he's done? I gave nothing. The sanctions are on. They want to see if they can do something. But I haven't given anything. If the other side got in, you would right now be in a big war with North Korea. Maybe it would be over by now, but you would almost immediately you would have started. And if you remember the rhetoric at the beginning, that was very tough rhetoric. But that rhetoric got us to a place, and the Olympics became successful because of me in South Korea, because all of a sudden they called, they said, we'd like to be, participate.
There he is, saying that Barack Obama called North Korea. And also, Q had been saying in November and December of 2017 that North Korea was run by the CIA and was about to get cleared out and freed up. And that was months before, like he said, all of a sudden now they're in the Olympics, and now there's peace talks and all this stuff. Well, we had heard that that was essentially going to happen a few months ahead of time because we had been following these QAnon drops. And there's just so many. Like here, 520, January of 2018. Now, whenever I do these, try to think of what you were doing in January of 2018. I always feel that's like a good way to really gauge on just how ahead of the times a lot of these are. So it says, big news this week. Future proofs past. What was unlocked? Do you believe in coincidences? Uranium 1. What public disclosure occurred re-Uranium 1? So now you look for that, at the time anyway, and you find that the day before, former president of Maryland-based transportation company indicted on 11 counts related to foreign bribery, fraud, and money laundering scheme. Now, this is Mark Lambert of Mount Airy, Maryland, and he was charged, and he was connected to 10X, which is a subsidiary of ARMS, and Rosatom, and all linked up with the Uranium 1 deal. But what I'm getting at is, without Q saying this, right, who would ever find this? Who would ever know? Who would ever know this guy, look for this guy's name or anything, or look up anything about Uranium 1? You wouldn't. This is what the Q posts are. This is what people say, oh, we're ahead of the news. Because it is. As stuff is happening, he's telling us, because the fake news isn't going to tell us. Has this guy ever been mentioned on the fake news? No, not once. And guess what? A few months ago in November, also not reported on fake news, he was found guilty. And he will also be sentenced this spring. Year of the Boomerang. Sets a major conviction tied to Uranium 1. But the only time you see the news mention Uranium 1 is just trying to make it seem like it's no big deal. Trust me, like I said, I've been looking into it. It's a big deal. And it stems to way before the Uranium 1 deal. But if you come down here, you will find, to me, which I would consider the first Q-proof ever. Now, obviously, January of 2018, there were already a bunch of Q-proofs, but stay with me for a second and you'll see what I mean. This is also the post where it is stated that this was planned for 3 years. January of 2018, that would take us back to 2015. And by this means a coup against the controllers. An actual, basically, what Bernie Sanders supporters think is going on Bernie Sanders' side, which is obviously he's shilling for the controllers. It's just could not possibly be more obvious. The guy wants to raise taxes on everyone, as well as put in all these crazy programs that, again, they just generate money for the controllers. And also, don't you think it's a little suspicious that this outbreak just happened to be perfectly timed right as all the Democratic candidates are pushing for, quote, free health care? A health scare happens? Come on, dude. Read between the lines. But anyway, in this post, we learned that this had been planned for 3 years, that they had been planning this takeover of the controllers for 3 years. They're cleaning it out from the inside. We're waking up all the citizens. But planned for 3 years. So that takes us back to 2015. I'm going to show you a clip of Trump introducing the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley. The Joint Chiefs of Staff includes the following departments where all the planning, policies, intelligence, manpower, communications, and logistics functions are translated into action. This is where everything happens, right? So in the ceremony I'm about to show you, it's General Dunford is retiring and Mark Milley is becoming the new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Now, it is of note that Admiral Rogers in 2009 became Director of Intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. All right, so that's right here, J2, Director of Intelligence for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And the person who was retiring as chairman of Joint Chiefs of Staff was Joseph Dunford. He was in 2012 nominated to lead U.S. NATO forces in Afghanistan. So this is someone who knows the intimate details of what was going on over there. This is someone who knows where the bodies are buried. Now, it's of note that Trump, who's already downscaled troops in Afghanistan, ended the war in Syria, has now made peace talks with the Taliban to end the Afghanistan war. Now, there was a little bit of a resurgence between the Taliban and, of course, the news. The news won't even cover this. The news who was, oh, my God, so anti-war with Bush, and, oh, my God, they hammered Bush with the war. They shut their mouth when Obama got in. Now that someone actually is trying to end the wars, not only they're not reporting on it, but the little reporting they do, they try to make it sound like, oh, yeah, well, it's all falling apart, or they do the fake news in Syria where they were showing things from Kentucky and saying, oh, they're getting hammered over there. Trump abandoned the Kurds. So it just shows that they could go either way. They go with the wind, whatever. Now they're for the wars. Taliban readout claimed Trump told the mullah, "It is a pleasure to talk to you. You're tough people. You have a great country, and I understand that you're fighting for your homeland." Trump bemoaned the trillions of dollars. No one talks about this. The U.S. has spent in Afghanistan and said American troops are just serving as a police force there, which is absolutely right. Now think about this. Obama kept the wars going in Afghanistan. The military was completely depleted when Trump got in. People saying, oh, he spent so much money in the military. There was no military. Military was ready to crack. There was nothing. This guy had to build up our military. So Obama spread us all the way thin. Obama and Bush spread us thin. Obama let the military go into complete disrepair. We were getting equipment from China. Why would you get one of your enemies from China? Why would you get equipment from China and trust that China is going to help you arm your military? That's where the whole steel aspect comes in. They were sending us cheap steel. We were getting computer chips from them that they were hackable. They set us up to fail. Something bad was going to happen if Hillary got in. I think something really bad. But anyway, it continues here. The unusual conversation came 3 days after the U.S. and Taliban negotiators signed a historic agreement that could end the 19 years of war in Afghanistan and allow Trump to begin the promised withdrawal of American troops. The 4-page pact spells out a timetable for the United States to withdraw its 13,000 troops from Afghanistan. In exchange, the Taliban agreed to sever its ties with al-Qaeda, the terrorist group that launched the 9/11 attacks in the United States. But some of Trump's staunchest Republican allies have criticized the agreement, saying the pact is flawed and could jeopardize U.S. national security. During a House hearing, Representative Liz Cheney said the Trump administration had made dangerous concessions to the Taliban, including a promise to secure to release as many as 5,000 Taliban fighters and giving a timetable for the complete withdrawal of U.S. forces from Afghanistan. Well, the war's over. So what do you do when the war's over? You release their prisoners, they release your prisoners, you guys go on with your lives. It's been 19 years. But isn't that funny that Dick Cheney's daughter is the one who doesn't want us to end the 19-year war in Afghanistan? It's the longest war in American history. The daughter of the vice president who started this war. But now we're leaving Afghanistan. And here's the retirement of General Dunford, who was the chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, who was running operations in Afghanistan, who knows where the bodies were buried there. And just listen to what Trump has to say.
We're here to welcome our outstanding new chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Mark Milley. Mark, I want to congratulate you. You're my friend. You're my advisor. And you deserve this position. I never had a doubt. Congratulations. As we prepare to welcome a new chairman, we must first pay tribute to one of America's most admired and beloved military leaders, outgoing chairman Joseph Dunford. In 2003, Joe commanded some of the first American troops in Operation Iraqi Freedom and very, very successfully commanded them. For his exceptional bravery, he received the Legion of Merit with Combat Valor. In 2013, he was named International Security Assistance Force Commander in Afghanistan, and he was instrumental in strengthening Afghan security forces to share more of the burden. And today, they are indeed sharing much more of the burden. In 2014, Joe became Commandant of the Marine Corps, and the next year he was named Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. When I took over, we were a very depleted military, and today we're at a level that we have never even come close to. Joe solidified America's competitive advantage through global integration of the joint force. He also provided critical leadership during the complete rebuilding of our military. And he helped me in another way, something that probably only Joe and Ellen really know. Because in I would say 2015, I sat with Joe at a dinner, and believe it or not, I was getting a big award from the Marines. And Joe was presenting the awards, and I had no even thought of running for president. And I said to my wife and family, look at that guy. He's a great-looking guy, isn't he? He's like central casting. He's like right out of Hollywood. But he made the great presentation that night, and I got to talk to him because I sat with him and Ellen and his son, Patrick. And I was asking Joe lots of questions about the military. He said, you really enjoy this, don't you? I said, well, I just love our country. It's very important to me. I love our country. And I said, I don't know. What do you think? Should I give it a shot? This was before it was public. He was one of the first people I asked. I said, what do you think? You think I'd have a shot? If I get it, we're going to rebuild that military. It's going to be stronger than ever before. And he helped me form an opinion. He gave me a lot of information, and he has ever since.
All right, so first, in the very beginning, they told us that Trump was ex-president, and say why, by who, and that Hillary Clinton was supposed to win, but they stopped the rigging of the election. Then in January of 2018, like we just went over, they say that this has been planned for 3 years. Well, he just said that they sat down in 2015 before he announced. So he announced, I believe, in June of 2015 that he was running. So before that would be spring and winter of 2015, exactly 3 years before this post, that he sat down and he asked General Dunford, do you think I'd win? Who, quote, helped him form an opinion, stating that this was the nexus of his presidency run. All right here in post number 2, why does POTUS surround himself with generals? What is military intelligence? Why go around the 3-letter agencies? Because they can't be trusted. All right, what is POTUS in control of? What is the one organization left that isn't corrupt? Why does the military play such a vital role? Because you need it. If you don't have a military, you got no power. Why is POTUS surrounded by highly respected generals? Why did they rebuild the military? You can't take on the controllers of the world with a completely Obama depleted military where you're being spread out and fighting for almost 20 years all over the Middle East, and where half the public's asleep. So what have they been doing? They've been rebuilding the military. You see, he said Dunford oversaw the majority of that. They're bringing all our troops home from this fake operation over in the Middle East. They're lifting the veil to who the controllers are and about the establishment to the public. Giving us breakdowns, how they scam us. All these things are scams to fund all their we're funding their own operations. The U.S. taxpayer is funding the very people we are engaged in taking down. Slush funds everywhere. Think George Soros pays for Antifa out of his own pocket? The hole is deep. Probably the only president I've ever heard call out financial aid is Donald Trump. Paris Accord, he took us right out of the Paris Accord. He's taken us out of the wars. Bernie Sanders wants to do it. Bernie Sanders wants to fund these people. You understand? If you think the revolution's coming out of Bernie's camp, you're being deceived. And that's fine. We all get deceived. I've gotten deceived before. But you can't be afraid to change your mind. These guys are breaking it down for everyone. What was Bernie's back channel waking everyone up? There is none. What was Obama's back channel waking everyone up? There is none. You ever hear Obama bailed the banks out? Here's Q. Do we have the gold? Yes. Gold shall destroy the Fed. Have you ever heard anyone ever talk about the Fed? I hear Bernie supporters talk about the evil bankers. I don't hear Bernie talking about ever ending the Fed, ever. But you got Trump, slams them all the time. Here, right in July 2018, Trump slams interest rate hikes, ignoring hands-off tradition towards Fed. The tradition towards the Fed is to be hands-off. Well, not with this guy who's clearly been telling us that they're taking it the frig down. Just back in November, Trump slams the Federal Reserve during a speech before Economic Club of New York. Back in August, Trump slams the Fed, calls chairman. No one's ever held the Fed's feet to the fire, ever. Any of them, except for this man. And this is a red pill. This is his way of trying to tell the public, hey, look into these guys. Trump slams the Fed September of 2019. Here he slams them again in late August. Here's Q insinuating that cures might actually exist for all these horrible things. When does Big Pharma make money? Curing or containing cancer, AIDS, etc. Mind will be blown by chain of command. The Red Cross is corrupt and used as a piggy bank. Future topic. Diseases created by families in power. Think AIDS. Future topic. Well, here back in August, Trump promises Cincinnati rally that the U.S. will end AIDS epidemic and find a cure for childhood cancer very shortly. That would be amazing. Here's Q calling attention to the Vatican. I mean, this is the inside of the Pope's audience hall. It's a snake, literally. Here's pictures of the Vatican with the Nazis. And look, Pope looks glum after Vatican meeting with Donald Trump. And there, he's happy. This guy don't look so happy. They know. Look at this, man. They know what the world is. They're trying to show us. I voted for McCain. I thought I liked McCain in 2008. Here's McCain with ISIS. That's al-Baghdadi. And here's Trump. Won't call McCain a war hero. Well, now we know why. Where's Bernie's people breaking this stuff down? He don't even know what his plans cost. Oh, he says, we're going to go after the controllers. Their system. They're the ones who have been talking for 100 years about pushing a socialist government in. You're going to go after them with their own system by funding them? Soros controls organizations of people to create division and brainwash, plus management, operator of slush funds. Where's Bernie telling the world about spirit cooking? This blew my mind, and it's real. And they're all friends with her. Marina Abramovic, they're all friends with Marina Abramovic. There's a million pictures of everyone with her. And then they try to pass off spirit cooking. It's just a fun dinner. No, yes, she has spirit cooking dinners, and they all attend. And there's cakes in the shapes of human bodies and all this gross stuff. But, it's a dinner, and they're taking pictures. But there's actual quote-unquote exhibits where she's done it by herself and writing all this weird stuff on the wall and blood and just doing a whole satanic blood rituals and stuff. And she's done way more than that. She's carved pentagrams into her stomach. She's done exhibits where she's lit up full pentagrams outside of a church and stuff. And this isn't some kind of weird cult information. This isn't misinformation. This is open source. I mean, half this stuff's right on Wikipedia. But who would ever know to look for it? They're doing it. For whatever reason, they decided to show us the real world. And it's been planned for 3 years, which is the exact time that Trump said he sat down with Dunford and helped form a decision about running for president. And just to further illustrate that the Q operation had been planned from long before it started on October 28, 2017, here's President Trump giving a speech in February of 2017, giving us our first air Q 7 months before the Q operation even started. And listen to what he says right before it. It says, the military helped us out big time. Now he's saying, if you listen to the full clip in context, he's saying that the military and law enforcement helped us out big time by voting for him, that they came out to vote, and that was a big help. But as Q told us on many occasions, learn double meanings. That double meanings exist. So list right before he does his very first air Q, he declares that the military has helped us out greatly. Signed, Q. Where we go one, we go all.
And I can tell you, the military and law enforcement, they stood up big. I don't say for me. I'm the messenger, folks. I'm the messenger. They stood up for us in this last election. They stood up for us in this last election.
We are calling for a great reawakening of America, a resurgence of confidence, and a rebirth of patriotism, prosperity, and pride. And we are returning to the wisdom of our founders. In America, the people govern, the people rule, and the people are sovereign. What we have built here in America is precious and unique.
We will push onward with new medical frontiers. We will come up with the cures to many, many problems, to many, many diseases, including cancer and others. And we're getting closer all the time. We will eradicate AIDS in America once and for all, and we're very close.
These are sick people.
They got caught red-handed, and I look forward to the Durham report, which is coming out in the not-too-distant future. He's got his own information, which is this information plus.
Questions are emerging over President Trump's Fed nominee, Judy Shelton, after a contentious confirmation hearing yesterday.
The concerns centered around Shelton's prior comments and writings about whether the Fed should be independent, if the Fed should act to weaken the dollar, and especially her advocacy of the gold standard.
Well, this was historic and unthinkable just a few months ago. The extraordinary sight of Kim Jong-un walking across this DMZ and then signing an agreement to rid his country of nuclear weapons.
US President Donald Trump has now ordered the withdrawal of all remaining US troops inside northern Syria.
We want to bring our people back home. It's been a long journey in Afghanistan in particular. It's been a very long journey. It's been a hard journey for everybody. We're very largely a law enforcement group, and that's not what our soldiers are all about.
He also provided critical leadership during the complete rebuilding of our military. And he helped me in another way, something that probably only Joe and Ellen really know. 2015, I sat with Joe, and I was asking Joe lots of questions about the military. He said, "You really enjoy this, don't you?" I said, "Well, I just love our country." He helped me form an opinion. He gave me a lot of information, and he has ever since